If you like my videos, click like. If you'd like to see more of my videos, click subscribe. It certainly would be appreciated. Thank you. Hi everybody, it's Mama Eadie. And today I'd like to talk to you about things that humans do that dogs hate. Did you know there was things that like that? Excuse me. I mean, you know, dogs try to intertwine with the human, but there's just some things that upset them and we don't even realize it. And the first thing is talking to them in sentences. Most dogs only understand a few words, you know, like walk, treat, off, toy, no, come, you know, things like that. And maybe a few border collies understand hundreds of words, but most dogs don't. And it's basically a waste of time, and they would rather you give them signals with your body, your hands, your body language. For years now, they have learned to read body language. Many hundreds of years. They have watched the human and learned how to understand your body language and know what you're going to do before you even do it. I'll give you an example of that. When I stand up a lot of times, Skeeter will run to the back door before I even think about, oh yeah, it is time to go before I let them out. So, you know, it's just things they know by being trained. Hugging your dog. Most dogs hate to be hugged. Some of them will tolerate it just to make the human happy, but they don't like it. So be cautious about letting your kid hug on the dog, because a lot of times the dog will retaliate and turn around and bite them because they really don't like it. They would much rather us put them under the chin or pet them on the back, you know, that kind of stuff for praise. They really don't like being hugged, and that's something I got to teach my husband. But you know, child grabbing a dog with hugs is why many dog bites occur, and we want to train our children as well as our dog. That's just not appropriate. And if you're wondering if your dog hates hugs, just pay attention to the body language when you cuddle. Do they tense up, lean their head away from you, avoid even a hint of eye contact, lick their lips, keep her mouth closed, pull her ears back against their head? Any of those are signs that they are uncomfortable. And so as soon as you see that, you need to start teaching your kids and adults not to do that. It's just not good for the dog. Again, petting the dog's face and patting their head, they hate it. I didn't realize that. I just told my husband he's going to have to stop doing that. And we want to, you know, reward them. So under the chin, they love under the chin, and they love down by their tail, by the butt on their, you know, near their tail. That is when you want, you know, you really want to reward them or tell them hi. That's where to get them. They love that. Walking up to a strange dog while you're looking in her eyes. We know how powerful eye contact is. While we view steady eye contact as important as signs of trustworthiness or focus, we have to also be aware that eye contact can feel unnerving, uncomfortable, and domineering. It's creepy when a stranger looks us in the eye without breaking contact, especially as they're approaching. It's clear their attention is zeroed in, but what is their intentions? You know, are they going to talk to us? Are they going to smack us? Are they going to hit us? What? We have read the rest of their face for the cues. Eye contact is part of establishing dominance. In many species and in humans, We can use the tiniest of detail about the rest of the face, the softest or hardness of the muscles around the eyes and mouth, to determine if the stare is friendly or not. And even then, it's still creepy to have a stranger stare at us. It feels the same way for dogs. When you look a strange dog right in the eye, unblinking, you might be smiling and trying to warm up to them, but the dog is probably reading it as an act of dominance or aggression. They might display submission response, looking away, doing a little wiggle for pets, rolling over onto their backs, or they might start backing up and barking. Either way, for most dogs, a stranger's looking it right in the eye while approaching is not a comfortable situation. So if you want to say hello to a new dog, which we all do, in a way that is comfortable for both you and the dog, approach with your body angled slightly, not with your shoulders squared towards the dog. Your eyes slightly averted, and speak quietly with a gentle voice. All these body language cues of friendship will help a dog understand you mean no harm. The dog might still want nothing to do with you, but at least you didn't approach it in a scary way that could cause defensive or aggressive reaction. Dogs want to be provided structure. You know, they want the rules. They love them. And you might be thinking strict rules makes life boring or unhappy for your dog. But dogs really want to know what's what according to their leader. And you are their leader, by the way. Some people don't realize that. And really, it's not so hard to relate as humans. Children thrive when they have a consistent set of rules to follow, and they do less well in environments that provide them a free-for-all. Think about polite, well-balanced kids you know, and the spoiled kids who lack social skills or throw temper tantrums. When they don't get what they want, which set of kids are the ones with consistency, enforced rules, and boundaries, and which that tends to be mostly consistently happy. With dogs, it's pretty much the same thing. Rules make life a lot more predictable, a lot less confusing, and a lot less stressful. And speaking of confusing, dogs don't understand exceptions of the rule. They don't understand that they're allowed to jump on you when you have leisure clothes on, but not when you have work clothes on. So if you don't want them to jump on your work clothes, don't teach them to jump up at all. They don't understand that they're allowed on the couch after a bath, but not after coming in from a romp in the mud. Additionally, saying no for breaking a rule, but not actually doing something to help the dog stop the behavior and learn the rule doesn't count as enforcement. Dogs thrive when they know where the boundaries are, and when you spend the time enforcing consistent boundaries with positive rewards. You are also building up their trust in you as a leader. You're setting up conditions for a very happy dog. Randy came home. Forcing your dog to interact with dogs or people she clearly doesn't like, just don't do it. Dogs have their favorite friends and their enemies. It is easy to see about other dogs and people, for that matter, that a dog wants to hang out with those with whom she'd rather not associate. Wait a minute. That dog wants to hang out with and those with whom she'd rather not associate. Yet, there are a lot of dog owners who go into denial about this or simply fail to read the cues their dog is giving them. It is common for overly enthusiastic owners to push their dog into social situations at dog parks when their dogs would rather just go home, or they allow strangers to pet their dogs even when she is showing clear signs of wanting to be left alone. It is important to note that there is a difference between positive encouragement with shy, fearful, or reactive dogs. Say hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
Here, to the camera.
Hi, honey.
Taking small steps to encourage them out of their comfort zone and giving them rewards for any amount of calm, happy social behavior is important to helping them live a balanced life. But knowing the difference between gentle, reward-based boundary pushing and forcing an interaction is vital to your dog's safety and sanity. When dogs are pushed too far in social situations, they're more likely to lash out with a bite or a fight. They've given cue after cue, ignoring, avoiding, maybe even growling, and finally they've had enough and give the clearest message of all with their teeth. What is possibly even worse is that their trust in you as a protective leader is gone. They're not going to protect me. And they have even more negative association with a park, a certain dog, or a person, or a general social setting. So do your dog a favor. Read the body language. When they don't want to do something or be around a certain person or a certain place, don't force it. Going for walks without opportunity to explore and smell. There are walks and there are walks. It's definitely important to have a dog that knows how to walk obedient on a leash. However, it's also important to allow a dog to have some time to explore her surroundings while walking obediently on a leash. Dogs see with their noses, and they place as much importance on their sense of smell as we humans place on our sense of vision for interpreting the world around us. It's probably safe to say that dogs appreciate the smell of a tree trunk the way we appreciate the beautiful sunset. Dogs, however, hate not being able to take in their world for at least a few minutes a day. And too often, we humans are focused on going on walks for the sole purpose of exercise or potty. We trudge along the same old route, often without any variety or sense of leisure, and in too much of a hurry to get back home. Do your dog a favor and dedicate one of your daily walks to having a smell walk. Going slow and letting your dog take in the world with her nose. Go somewhere entirely new. Explore a different neighborhood or trail. Let your dog sniff a spot until she gets her fill, even if it's for minutes at a time before moving forward. For helping your dog know the difference between a walk where she should be obedient and stay beside you and walk where she is free to explore. You can have a special backpack or a harness that you use only for smell walks. Just make sure it's something very different from the usual collar and leash setup, so the different purposes for the walk is obviously obvious to your dog. These walks are wonderful opportunity for your dog to get some of their mental and sensory stimulation that keeps life interesting for her. And they hate keeping a tight leash. Just as dogs are amazing at reading our body language, they're amazing at reading our tension levels, even through the leash. By keeping a tight leash on your dog, you're raising the level of stress, frustration, and excitement for your dog. And conversely for you. I know what you might be thinking. I don't want to hold a dog tight leash, but I have to. My dog is the one pulling, not me. But this is why it is important to teach a dog how to walk on a slack leash. An amazing amount of energy is transferred between you and your dog through that little strip of canvas or leather. By keeping a loose leash, you're letting your dog know that everything is fine and dandy, and there's no reason to be worried or tense. With a slack leash, you're saying to your dog that you are calm and have everything under control, so your dog is free to be calm as well. On the other hand, by keeping a tight leash, you're sending a message to your dog that you're tense, nervous, on alert, ready to fight or flight. And your dog responds in kind. Just as you don't like your dog pulling you around it doesn't feel good to your dog to constantly be pulled and thus cued to be on alert. They're also well aware and they can't get away from you even if they think they need to. A dog that walks on a tight leash is more apt to bark, be more reactive, in even the most mild of social situations, but a dog that can walk on a slack leash is more likely to be calm. This is a difficult thing to master, and something the majority of dog owners can conversate about. But it is so important to having pleasant walks with a relaxed dog. Tension on the leash isn't the only way a dog can pick up on how you're feeling. You can tell when a person you're around is feeling tense, even if you don't realize it. Dogs have the same ability. Actually, I think they have more of that ability. The more stressed and wound up you are, the more stressed and wound up your dog is. And the dogs, just like us, don't like that feeling. You might roll your eyes, but the next time your dog is acting frustrated and tense, check in with yourself. Have you been feeling that way for the last few minutes, for the last few hours, or for the last few days? Your dog might just be acting as your mirror. If you need a reason to meditate, keeping your dog calm down is a great one. Yeah, somebody walked by the house. Don't be boring. You know that feeling of being stuck hanging around someone that's totally boring? Think back when you were a child and your parents, they were running grown-up errands. Yeah, none of which revolved around toy stores or a park. Remember the feeling of barely being able to contain yourself or wanting to squirm and groan and complain? You couldn't take part in the adult conversation, which was boring anyway, and you were told to sit still and hush. But oh boy, did you ever want to just move, just run around the block or something to break the boringness? That's how your dog feels when you're busy being that boring grown-up, like me doing these. Dogs arbor it when you're boring. And it's hard not to be. We get home from work and we want to unwind, get a few chores done, to make dinner, and sack out on the couch and maybe watch a show or Netflix or something. But that's about the most annoying thing we can do to our dogs who have been waiting around all day for us to finally play with them. If your dog is making trouble getting into boxes or closets, eating shoes, or chewing on table legs, she's basically showing you just how incredibly bored she is. Luckily, there's a quick and easy solution to this. Training games. Teaching your dog a new trick, working on old tricks, playing a game of Find It with a favorite toy, or going out and using a walk as a chance to work on urban agility. Are all ways to stimulate both your dog's mind and body. An hour of training is worth a couple hours playing a repetitive game of fetch in terms of wearing a dog out. While, of course, exercise and walks are important, adding in some brain work will make your dog happy tired. Even if it's just 15 to 30 minutes of trick training a day will make a big difference. And for whatever reason, some people love to tease a dog. Well, don't. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but it's worth pointing out because too many people still think it's funny. Don't bark at a dog as you pass it on a street. Don't wave or talk to a dog that is barking at you from behind a window or a door. Don't pull a dog's tail. The list can go on and on. But in short, don't do something you know makes the dog mad. Just because you think it's funny. It's not funny to the dog. And can lead to some serious behavioral problems. And perhaps deservedly, you getting to sport some new dog-shaped teeth marks. Yeah. Okay, folks, so that's it for today. If you'd like to check into some books that would be helpful in this area, there's a list here. The Other End of the Leash, Why We Do What We Do Around Dogs. Professional behaviorist and trainer Patricia B. McConnell goes into excellent detail about species differences between primates and canids and why dogs don't appreciate our hugs, as well as many other great ways to understanding the dog's perspective about the world. Now that is the other end of the leash, why we do what we do. No, why we do what we do around dogs. Okay? Check that book out. Meanwhile, Inside of a Dog, What Does She Smell and Know by Alexandra Horowitz, Horowitz. You'll get a chance to see the world through a dog's eyes and learn so much about body language, the importance of scent, and the other things that will help you know more about what your dog wants out of life. And for understanding more about how clicker training and training games can help you and your dog get along better, try Reaching the Animal Mind, Clicker Training and What It Teaches Us About All Animals by Karen Pryor. Okay, folks, try that. Enjoy your day. Be sure to subscribe right there. I love my fur babies. Hey, I can't get on Facebook right now, so if you guys would share this to Facebook, it would be greatly appreciated. So I can keep up my subscribers. And